Welcome to the Reinvented Life with Pamela Chanel David. Do you want to step up your game? Pursue your dreams. Be the best version of yourself. The Reinvented Life is here to help. The Reinvented Life is about courage. It's about staying relevant. It takes grit. It defies gravity. It's about taking inventory of where you are today and where you want to go. Embrace change. Make things possible and reinvent your life. Call in with questions at 888-994-4995. Now, it's time to reinvent your life with Pamela Chanel.
Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Reinvented Life. I am pumped up today. It is Wednesday morning here in California and already off to an awesome day. I'm very excited to bring my guest on today as a return visit to the Reinvented Life. He is coming live to us from the East Coast, and I'd love to introduce you to Tim Hotchkiss. Tim is an attorney. He is one of the most brilliant thinkers I know. And most importantly, he is my business partner. He is my friend, and he is someone that you want to hear from on this topic today. So with that, I'd love to welcome back to the Reinvented Life, Tim Hotchkiss.
Hello, Reinvented Life Network. How are you? How are you doing, Chanel?
Here we are. It's exciting to have you back on the show.
Thank you for having me. I always love it. I love the insightful conversations that we have. It always takes me in a direction in my mind that I never thought that I would go in, and it's wonderful. So I'm privileged to be here.
Well, here we are. You know, this morning's conversation, we're talking really about continuing the conversation on personal justice and how do we treat ourselves in the most just way? Because as we always like to say, social justice begins with personal justice. How are we treating ourselves in the best way? As we know and we've discovered and we've talked about and we're watching, doesn't necessarily look and feel like we think it would. In many instances right now, it's a lot about disrupting our normal patterns, our normal habits, what we're doing, and finding within ourselves those things that we may normally not have believed we can do. So with that, I'd love you to share a little of your story and that whole feel about how your life has really disrupted for you becoming the strongest that you can be.
Well, before I get into that, the concept of personal justice, when you told me that was the topic, and then I've seen your posts and your social media putting forth that concept, it got me thinking, you know, that's something that concept isn't one that we normally apply to ourselves. It's something we think about justice to somebody else, or something that we see on TV, somebody getting injured or hurt or taken advantage of, and bringing the accused to justice. And I thought about, you know, how personal justice, am I providing justice for myself, and what does that mean? And I always kept coming back to looking out for oneself, or looking out for myself, you looking out for yourself, putting ourselves in the best position for success, or the best or the most positive outcome given the circumstances or situations, because things are always shifting and moving and dynamic. And are we looking out for ourselves? And I got to thinking, I think for a lot of people in the conversations that I've been having, is that putting ourselves, that might be viewed as a bad thing. And that's being conceited or self-centered or narcissistic. And I always come back to, no, not really, because this ties back to my story. I used to put everybody in front of me. I was always in the back seat. that never served me. It never allowed me to express who I was, to positively impact somebody else. So when I was trying to look out for everybody else, I wasn't really looking out for anybody else. Um, they weren't receiving my energy. They weren't being impacted by my humanity, my personality, my presence, this energy bundle on earth. So I think that's, for me, how I view this concept of personal justice is looking out for oneself and being thoughtful and mindful, of course, of those around us, and going through life with that sort of attitude. Um, so rewinding the tape back to my genesis and how I started, um, I was very introverted. I was very shy. That label was on me, and I just wore it like I owned that. But within me was this just energy that was yearning just to just be unleashed. And, multiple degrees later, you can see below, engineering degree, a master's of business degree, law degree. All through that matriculation and all through that coursework and all the reading and the studying and exams, I was still incomplete, like major incomplete. I had these degrees stacking up, and that's wonderful. I had all this knowledge, but I had trouble getting it out. And more importantly, I had trouble expressing my thoughts, opinions, and beliefs, my essence to other people, because I didn't want to, on some level, I didn't want to diminish them with my energy, my beliefs and thoughts, and all of that. And then on another level, I felt all of my thoughts, beliefs, and opinions were secondary. They weren't as important. They might be minimized or trivialized or criticized. Oh my God, criticized! Like, that was the worst word for me. That was my kryptonite. If I received any sort of criticism for my personality or an opinion, that would be so hurtful. So I wore these kind of wounds around, and it just never added up until I started to give myself the permission to be who I am and to accept that not everybody's going to like what I say. That's okay. And the funny thing is, all through my life, I always identified with thought leaders and people that were in media, celebrities who spoke their truth, who didn't care what they said. They just did it. And I always thought that was such a powerful thing. If I could just say how I felt, without being hurtful, of course, but just express my opinions and thoughts and beliefs freely, that would be like breathing. But I was always holding everything close to my chest and afraid, walking around in fear. And when you can't express who you are, it starts to make you feel like you're not good enough, and I already had that going on already ingrained in my head, and it just amplifies that. So I'm walking around all these degrees, feeling like I can't express who I am. I can't show up with my true energy because it's not going to be enough. I'm not going to be the smartest in the room. I'm not going to say the funniest joke. I'm not going to look the coolest, and all this negative thinking. And meanwhile, I'm probably the most brilliant person. And I'm not trying to be conceited in saying that, but it's like the truth, the lie that we tell ourselves, the lies that we tell ourselves start to show up. And until we start loving on ourselves and saying, you know what, Tim, you're kind of great, you just don't know it, and letting that energy permeate and ricochet off of people and watch them elevate and react in a positive way, it's like that for me is the personal justice in this, is that I'm putting the energy out there, and I'm putting myself in a positive mindset and framework to be successful. I'm not trying to hold back. Holding back isn't doing anybody any good. And it's certainly not helping me, and it's not helping you if I can't communicate my thoughts, opinions, and beliefs. So as I started to love myself and put myself more forward and first in life, the relationships started to emerge and grow and flourish, just like the one I have with you. It's gotten me on this show. It's allowed me to just breathe and be free and not feel hesitant. And I think a lot of this hesitancy we have in life is us not putting ourselves forward and first, and maybe taking the time to be introspective and fix what it is that's preventing us from being out there first. Because when we're out there first, we can be there for other people more effectively. They're having an impact from us. So as I started to be on that leading edge of just being me and free, all of these great things have happened. And I think it starts with us every single time. But the more I've talked to people about this concept, the more I see that, yeah, people are taking a back seat, and they're stepping away, and they're putting other people ahead of them. And my belief is that's not the best thing, you know?
Absolutely. And this is the entire reason why I want to focus on this subject, because I think it's so helpful for people to hear this from multiple individuals. I know for myself, it was the exact same thing. For so much of my life, my focus was on my family, on my career, on my job, on my community dedication,
Mhm.
that I took a backseat to all of it. I actually abandoned myself certainly from a health standpoint in the process. I found myself close to, 7, 8 years now, hearing from my physician that I may have a year to live. And the process of reclaiming my health has opened doors to this exact subject. And this is why I am so passionate about it. Because, as you mentioned, we're taught, conditioned from an early age through our schooling, friends, family, everything, that paying attention to oneself is almost the wrong thing to do. So there's very few that got the message that the stronger they show up, the better they will be for everyone. But I know for myself, it was the opposite. And it has taken years and years and decades to actually get to the point that putting myself first, putting my health first, when we are, and I have said it many, many times, the strongest we can be physically, emotionally, mentally, I include now even spiritually, we actually then can become the strongest link in the chain for all the communities, all the people that we're aligned with and serve. And so, coming forward, as you're mentioning, in your truest self, and believing that what you have is valuable to those that you're around is the key to it. Because once one learns their own value, one understands their worth, one understands their contribution to society and life and to our work and to our people and our communities, now you're helping elevate a greater group of people. And that's what this is all about. We actually have a very short commercial break, but it is about embracing this change. And I think this is going to help people to solidify what we're talking about. This subject is the most important. You know, the reinvented life is based on taking inventory of one's life. Because before you can reinvent anything, you have to figure out, where are you? Where are you going to be? So we'll take a look. We're going to take a little break here for this short commercial, and we'll be back and we'll continue this talk. Social justice begins with personal justice. My name is Pamela Chanel David. I am author of the Reinvented Life book, and bringing to you over the next couple of weeks what the reinvented life is all about, what your reinvented life is all about. When you are most just to yourself, when you are the strongest physically, mentally, and emotionally, you can show up for yourself and for others in the most powerful way possible. Social justice is a linking together of individuals that want to make an impact, that want to embrace change, that want to be a contribution for a brighter future. So at the Reinvented Life, we're going to spend the next couple of weeks bringing you tips, bringing you hope, bringing you tools that will help you reinvent your life and have the most personal justice possible. Because social justice begins with personal justice.
Welcome to AMP2 TV, the first and only internet production company that's truly plugged in. When you're looking for a full-service internet radio, TV production company, discover AMP2 TV. AMP2 TV is a full-service media company that can provide all streaming videos, video studios, radio studios, and television studios. Call us today at 866-224-5422, for no business is too small to grow to be accounted. It's time for your message to be seen. Let AMP2 TV help get you there.
Coffee News is a fun, family-friendly weekly publication provided free to restaurants, coffee shops, and waiting areas for customers to enjoy. Grow your business today through the power of effective, affordable advertising. Coffee News is an active marketing medium specializing in the ongoing weekly promotion of your business. This builds awareness for your company so you become known as the leader of your industry and develop brand awareness so people think of you first when they want your services or products. Maximize your visibility and achieve outstanding results. For more information on Coffee News, contact Sunrise Coffee News at mail.com or give them a call at 954-951-7870.
You have been watching The Reinvented Life Show with Pamela Chanel David. For more information, you may contact Pamela Chanel at info@thereinventedlife.com or call in live 888-994-4995, Studio A. And now back to the show.
Well, welcome back, everyone. I am so excited about this concept of personal justice because I think it's the most important message that we can not only bring to ourselves, but bring to those we care about. So I want to bring back on the show Tim Hotchkiss. Again, he's coming to us from the East Coast. We're having a coast-to-coast conversation. And Tim, I really want to highlight how this concept, how this personal justice has really revolutionized, because I don't think it's anything short of that, your own life. And I think people are so motivated when you're on social media, as an example, and you are just out there in the world. That helps so many people. As you said, that label followed you of introvert for so long. And then these social media posts enable you to reinvent and show up as yourself. And I know we've talked about when you're out there vlogging, when you're out there meeting people just because you have that camera in your hand, how that can be a connection. And the most important piece, I believe, of personal justice leading to social justice is, as we've talked about, social justice is a linking with a lot of people. And it doesn't have to just be in a political realm. It can be in any realm. It can be in the life realm. And that's what I think people would love to hear, is how you're taking this personal revolution, if you will, this personal change and this personal reinvention sort of out on the streets, because it's a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, change can come in many different ways. And for me, it was sharing my energy, enthusiasm, and vlogging and recording video in public places. It's a conduit for meeting people. People are curious. They want to know what's going on. And I like to just, because I used to be on the other side of the equation, I used to be so shy. And so I like to now be on the other side because I'm feeling freer in my own skin to just approach people and see what sort of reaction I get. Because I know in the past my reaction would be, I'm paralyzed, I can't say anything. So it's fun for me to have that impact, because if people are watching me from afar, vlog with the camera, or talking to people, and I might look maybe a little bit out there, especially in Ohio. I look definitely, I'm the exception, not the norm in the way I dress. That it's okay. Like, it's okay to show up and do what it is that you want, so long as you're not hurting anybody. And I know for me, that was insanely inspiring to watch, like Dennis Rodman, or I don't know, Michael Jordan, all these sports personalities that were larger than life, and they just spoke their mind. Like, what's the worst thing that's going to happen, right? Like, nothing. There's no, it's all in our head. Like, these lies that we want to believe, and tell ourselves that this criticism is so hurtful. It's going to, we can't, do anything because criticism means so much to us. Like, none of that means anything. What means the most is that we attempted to try something that we wanted to do, and we follow through with it, and we fulfill that goal. And there's always room for improvement. There's always room to get better. But at the end of the day, it's about giving ourselves the opportunity to explore ourselves and life, and share that energy. And it ties back into what you're saying about social justice is impacting other people. And it could be something as easily as seemingly trivial as just walking around with a camera. That's impacting people. I can't tell you how many people have just been curious, asking me, they want to be on the vlog, they wave, like their energy levels go up, and they like to just share some of their story too. So it's been really, really great. It's, for me, an absolute joy. And I see the growth in myself every single day on those videos.
And I think that's a good point you're making. It's almost like giving yourself permission to do something. It's
Exactly.
the condition that we almost need a permission card, to
Right.
get out there and do what you were naturally more apt to want to do, but held back. I know in your profession as an attorney, people have a certain stigma about who's an attorney, a stereotype of what's an attorney look like, what's an attorney do. Yet you specialize in such an awesome part of the law, because it's all about creation. It's all about protection and helping
Right.
people bring their ideas to life. And what I love seeing is that you're leading that by bringing your own personality forward, by bringing your own inspiration forward. And that's what I want people to get from watching this show, is that we are each cut from a different cloth. We all have our own special talents to bring, but also the way we bring it is a lot of fun to watch. And I'm sure that's been a huge aha for you.
Yeah, just, giving yourself that opportunity, and like you said, permission to go for it, to do it, to try it, to hell with criticism and judgment. Do something that makes you happy. And for me, recently, it's been singing. So I never thought I had a good voice, but the more I hear myself back, I'm like, I kind of like what I hear. And that's all that's important, right? So all the videos that I do of me singing, it's for me, but I know the byproduct is other people are out there thinking they can't sing, they can't do it. And they're like, if this guy can do it, come on, I got a better voice than him. And so it's this joy, like it's this joy of exploring who we are. I'm not just a bookworm. I'm not just a lawyer. I don't like these labels. I'm much more than somebody that can analyze a legal problem and give you an answer. And we all are, but boy, do we get categorized. Boy, do we get put into boxes, and I think it's something in the U.S. that's, in the U.S. you have a job and that's who you are. In other countries, a job is what you do. And this sort of mentality, and it ties back into this personal justice concept, is putting yourself first. Like, just because I have a profession doesn't mean I've handed my entire being over to the profession and I no longer have a personality or likes or wants in life or other facets that I can share. No, and I believe the more you're freer within yourself, the more you're more comfortable in your own skin, and more that you feel accepted by yourself. Notice how I said that, accepted by yourself, not by other people, the more effective and efficient and productive you are in any sort of employment or profession that you have, because you're just a happier person.
Yeah. It actually ends up showing up and enhancing, if you will, your whole life, because like you say, labels that people put on themselves, adopt, they are what they do versus they are who they are. And that's the big distinction right there. This conversation, if someone really internalizes it and listens to it, will realize that there's a lot within themselves that they can do that they have limited themselves by. And we're working on a big project. It's all about disbeliefs. It's the things that we don't believe that we can do, those limiting beliefs, if you will, that end up to be our successes. For myself, I can name a dozen things now in my life, starting with fitness. I never, ever paid attention to my health. Talking about what we talked about earlier, giving everything to everyone in my life, abandoning my health, and now reclaiming it, I am having a total blast adopting things into my life I've never done. Not just eating better when people think about their health, but creating literally a holistic being that never would have been. And I feel younger, and I feel active, and I feel like I can take on challenges. And that's this enhancement that people get when they go out there and just don't hold back. So we unfortunately are going to have to wrap up here, but any final thoughts on this concept for you as we wind down the show?
Well, there are no limits. And when you put yourself forward in the conversation of life, positive things start to show up for you and those around you. So I think that's the biggest message that I want to give to everybody today about that concept of personal justice.
Beautiful. Well, I am excited, as I mentioned, to have you again on the Reinvented Life, and I hope you'll come back soon, because
absolutely,
I love these conversations. To all our viewers and our listeners, thanks for spending the time with us. Always like to bring you value. Always like to bring, as Tim opened it up with, an insightful conversation and help you to embrace the changes in your life that you desire to really reinvent and become all that you want to be. We will see you next week, and thanks for spending the time with us this morning.
Thank you for tuning in to The Reinvented Life with Pamela Chanel David. Tune in each week so we can work and grow together to become the best version of ourselves. Keep striving, keep dreaming, keep working, and embrace change. You may contact Pamela Chanel at info@thereinventedlife.com.